1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Okay, get ready.
Picture this. It's Friday afternoon, shop's closing down. After a hard week of work, you walk outside, you see your coworkers all in a circle, laughing, joking, have a great time. So obviously you want to join. So you walk right up, join the group, you interject, put in your own jokes, start laughing, and then it happens. You look to your left, the same coworker, every single time you join any type of group and you're talking, stops talking. Facial expression goes from laughter to silent. Nothing. Then they just walk away. What's wrong? What did you do? Is he mad at you? Does he not like you? I actually don't have to picture this. That gentleman walking to that group, that was me. And I'm going to inform you on the 3 stages of conflict resolution that I took to be able to go ahead and overcome this conflict at the workplace. According to the physician's executive, in resolving a conflict with coworkers, there are 3 stages that apply. The first one is determining the value of the differences. The second one is establishing the style of communication. And the third one is committing to an agreeable resolution. So that brings me to my first stage. The value. According to Maynard, in many cases, we do not even know the differing values if they are mutual or incompatible. Essentially what that means is a lot of times when there's 2 parties that are in a conflict, they really don't know why. They have a certain view, we don't understand, and I have a certain view and they don't understand. The issue that we're talking about at this time, my values were in view as I walked up to the conversation. I showed friendship, care by talking, communicating, jumping in. What he saw that as was he felt not important. So he got quiet and left. To determining these values after we had discussed it is the easiest way is actually what leads me into step 2 or stage 2, and that's going to be establishing a style of communication. Stated by Bidell, listening is vital, but very few do it. His style of communication was body language. He was expressing how he felt by not talking, changing his facial expressions, lowering his shoulders, and eventually leaving the situation. As you can probably tell, my style of communication is verbal. So I was talking, I was interacting, I was joking, I was laughing, and I had no idea what the issue was. It wasn't until we actually sat down and talked about our styles of communication that we were under to understand what we were trying to say to each other. One thing that I did learn is, especially with listening, it's not just with your ears, but it's also with your eyes. To further explain how we came to that agreement, it actually rolls me into stage 3 of the process of resolving coworker conflict, or committing to an agreeable solution. A report issued by the University of Wallenberg, openly discussing issues and expressing their feelings in a positive way and working towards a mutually agreeable resolution to problems report an increase in happiness. So we came to a resolution. Essentially, we agreed on how to communicate. The next time we were in that situation, when he was starting to feel left out or not important, he was able to look at me directly in the eyes and ask if he could interject. And my portion of that resolution was when he did those things that I would pay attention. I would watch his body language. I would see what he was actually doing and then tone it down, to make him actually feel welcomed. By using this example of what was going on during myself, a personal conflict resolution with a coworker, demonstrated the 3 stages that I had previously discussed. Determining the value and differences, establishing and understanding the style of communication, and also committing to an agreeable resolution. In conclusion, a lot of times we're going to find ourselves in a situation where there may be conflict, especially when it deals with coworkers. It's not like we can't go to work. We have bills to pay. So what ends up happening is we have a couple of decisions to make. We can either A, sit there in the conflict, deal with the tension on an everyday basis, or we can take 10 minutes out of our day and pursue these 3 easy stages to go ahead and fix the resolution. A lot of times the problem seems a lot larger than it really is when we actually sit down and talk about it. So I ask you, the next time you're in a conflict with a coworker, would you prefer to be in that type of conflict, or would it sound more favorable to go through these easy steps to have a more enjoyable workplace as well as a happier lifestyle? Thank you. Now, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, what's your best advice for additionalizing the process?
Well, believe it or not, the hardest part, yet also the easiest, I found from personal experience as well, is just having the conversation. Usually when there's a conflict at work, especially with a coworker, both parties are confused. They want to have the conversation, but it takes that first person to actually establish the connection, and most of the time it's resolved quickly. Does anybody else have a question?
You still have that person in your life?
Funny you asked that. I know it's a personal story, so I kind of came out. Believe it or not, after resolving that, he became one of my closest friends outside of work. So it's funny how sometimes the smallest things and misunderstandings can, create obviously a lifelong impact. Any other questions?
I have a follow-up.
Go ahead.
University of Wallingford?
Correct.
Where would that be?
It's actually in Massachusetts.
It's an actual place.
Yeah, it's in Massachusetts. It's a small school, and they study in social science.
Ah.
Good question. Anybody else? Well, thank you.